But I do, of course, hope he does get to. When to Shave Walkers waffle between 3 and 4 Wrenn at times. Well, when you're playing 4 Urza Saga, Wrenn and 6 is really important. So it's like, I think when you play 4 Saga, you play 4 Wrenn. When you play 3 Saga, when you play no Saga, you play 3 Wrenn. What do you think about Pyromancer in my mono red Asmo deck? It's fine, but like you could play Pyromancer over like the Aether Grid Manufactor package, which is fine. But you also have like 2 more slots you need to fill, because I think you need to play all the Manufactors and the 2 grids for like that. That's like a whole package, and like I don't think that you can play the extra 3 drops in the Seasoned Pyromancers. Mostly released were my thoughts on this so far. It's been performing really well. I think I really like where the list is at the moment. We're 8-2, 5-0 first league. No current changes, I think. I mean, I just started a new league. Obviously, if I thought there were current changes, I would just make them goblins. I think I'm just gonna ping the Prospector. Okay, we'll turn 2 Aether Vial. Obviously, fetch land best draw. Not a fetch land. Let's, I think, go for Inquisition plus Tarmogoyf here. Awesome. Their hand is all lands. If I draw another land, even if it's not a fetch land, I just get to discard to Liliana, then return it to Wrenn. When will they ban Omnath so there can be a variety of mid-range? I mean, I'm currently 8-2 with this mid-range deck. Like, to imagine that there's like, no other mid-range deck is viable is just not reality. It's like, especially when you should probably consider Murktide to be another mid-range deck too. There's plenty of viable mid-range decks. The reality is like Omnath is the mid-range decks that's good against other mid-range strategies and is worse against linear decks. And it's just like I understand that it's a frustrating deck to play against. I understand that nobody likes to play against it, but I just am so tired of these takes that are just so distanced from reality. I think I'll plus the Liliana this turn. Yeah, they drew the Vial on turn 2, but yeah, I guess their keep was probably pretty bad. Why do people hate the 4-color Omnath deck? Like, one, people like to play fair, mid-range, and control decks. That is like the Omnath deck are pretty good in those matchups, right? Like they just are like 5 to 10% against against decks like this, against decks like Murktide. I actually think that the matchup is closer against blue-white control than most people give it credit for, but they're probably like a couple percentage points favored in those matchups. And so like, one, people don't like having bad matchups. And then that's not the whole of it, but that's a big part of it, to be honest. But it's also like the matches are really long. So when you play against Omnath, you're losing for a really long time. And when you play against Omnath, your opponent gets to sit and they get to draw tons and tons and millions of cards while you're sitting there, run out of resources, and you're not able to outgrind them. But Modern is not just a format that is all about outgrinding your opponent. Modern is very much a format about interacting with linear decks. And the Omnath deck, being a Yorion deck that's full of creature removal, is not that good at interacting with a lot of the linear decks. And it's also is worse at compensating post-board against the linear decks because it's a Yorion deck and has a harder time finding those impactful sideboard cards. And so its role in the metagame is to be good against the fair decks and the creature-based aggro decks and the creature-based combo decks. And it is weaker to decks like Tron and Titan and Reclamation and Belcher and Oopsal spells. And it is you know, it's not any deeper than that, but it's just like we just keep getting all the same takes over and over and over again about it that are just like, again, completely divorced from reality. And it's also like when you play a deck like this or you play Murktide, you're only like 40. You're gonna win 40 to 45% of the time still. You know what I mean? Like, you are still going to win 40 to 45% of the time. It's gonna be okay. Which is not a lot for a game of Magic, but and you know, every deck's got their bad matchups. This deck, like, you're scared of Omnath, you're not really scared of too much else. You're gonna just accept that you have a bad matchup or two. I don't think I want Culling Ritual. You could play Culling Ritual. Could play second Terminate, but like the spot removal is not great against goblins in general. Already have a lot of spot removal. Could play a Tourach. Could play an Endurance. I'll play an Endurance. Flash Threat. No, maybe I'll play 2 Endurance over 4th Lily. 4th Lily's not that good. Maybe even like 1 Tourach. Or do Temur Rek's good in bad matchups? Temur Rek is like you know, I don't know if you consider it a fair deck, but Temur Rek has an amazing Omnath matchup. It's really, really good. Yeah, Temur Rek is great against Omnath. It's great against Control. It's usually even against big mana. And it's usually like somewhat weak to Grixis Shadow and Hammer Time. Is usually my evaluation of Temur Rek. Yeah, I don't really think I want rituals in this matchup. They're okay, but it's like they've got so many 3 and 4 drops, and like they're just so good at refilling, and it also kills my Tarmogoyfs and Wrens, which is a problem. My Urza Saga tokens. Yeah, I haven't seen Belcher in a long time. I really think the Belcher players are super scared of Boseiju. Yeah, Rhinos is really good. It's mulled to 6 on the play. Rhino's Resurgence seems like a bit of a mirage. I don't know. Like to be honest, like I don't say this about very many decks, but I think like a big part of the reason why you don't see a lot of Rhinos in the leagues is because Rhinos is like a really boring deck to grind. It's like the gameplay is like super repetitive. You get got by you either get got by like the hate cards or you don't over and over again, and like you miss your third land over and over again. It's just like I really think the gameplay of Rhinos is just it's just not very good, and I think a lot of Rhinos players got bored of grinding the deck. Obviously, like some people still enjoy it, but like if I really think if the Rhinos deck was more fun, you would see it a lot more often. Doom is the chat. I think Doom probably agrees. Maybe not. Doom's like one of the few people that like is still grinding it, and it is very good. Like I'm not. Like, my point is that it's good, but it doesn't see, like, the amount of play it probably should. I enjoy playing Rhinos more than most. Like, yeah, that's fair. And obviously, like, fun is really subjective. People enjoy different things, but I do think that's a big part of the reason why you just don't see... I guess we're going to ping. Don't see the Rhinos deck as often as you think you should. Not really because it's bad, just because people don't like it to play it that much. Any plans to play 4-color Rock Creek mid-range deck? Any change post Cat ban? I feel like Lurrus ban was really bad for the Rock Creek deck, where it was great against all the Lurrus decks, and like you would also like know to keep a hand with Chalice when you're up against a Lurrus deck. So I'm not sure. I'm not saying that I'll never play it again, but the Rock Creek deck was already like a deck that we only played when like Hammer Time, Cascade, and Ragavan decks were really popular, and I don't feel like that's exactly the dynamic we're in anyways. I had it pulled up, I'm not sure where it went. This is another goofy brew. What did they get? They got a Conspicuous Snoop, which is pretty good for me. I guess I'll hold up a removal spell for the Snoop then this turn. I boarded in the Endurance, yeah, just as a 3-4 flash blocker. Reed, thank you for the raid, dude. It's awesome. Thank you everybody for joining. Playing some Jund Saga today. We're currently 8-2 on the day, up against goblins. I'm gonna go ahead and get a Stomping Ground here, I think, and bolt the Snoop. I guess, because if I want to Endurance plus Saga next turn, I have to get this land, but it does mean that I'm, I do think Lightning Bolt is more of a premium removal spell than Push in this matchup. And I'm not sure, I might just ping the Goblin token. It's probably not correct. I also can't Saga, Endurance, and Fatal Push. Yeah, I'll plus the Wrenn. I'm still baffled Murktide doesn't play Fire Ice. We'll stream it, dude. I think you could play it. It's obviously like you have a lot of flex spots in the deck. It's also it's not like the most mana efficient card either. Like Fire Ice is really good when it buys you time for a big turn 3. And Murktide really wants, I think, its cards to be maybe a little more mana efficient than that in general. Ninja Bandit with the 8 months, appreciate you. My opponent found 3 goblins off their ringleader, another ringleader, a munitions expert, and a goblin matron. It's gonna be tough. Why Endurance over Soul Guide Lantern? We have Soul Guide Lantern as a tutor target. We're just also playing Endurances because they're versatile sideboard cards. You extra graveyard hate, very good against Living End. Very good against Murktide also. I think I am not targeting anyone with the Endurance. Then Shadowspear definitely feels like a big part of our game plan at the moment. I think that I'm probably supposed to give up on the Wrenn and Six, just being a token attack with both. Because my opponent has so much... they just have so much grind that we are just not winning this long game at all. And if the Wrenn and Six dies, it grows the Goyf. Okay, opponent just takes 6. Their hand is Ringleader, Munitions Expert, Goblin Matron, Mystery card, and then another Mystery card after they draw. Thanks again, Bandit, for the 8 months. What would need to happen to make Elves a competitive deck? Maybe Wirewood Symbiote being printed into the format. That's maybe my yeah, Glimpse or Symbiote. I feel like both at the same time is like a little scary, but you could probably unban one. Okay, they get another Snoop. Is that going to be their line this turn? Allosaurus Shepherd? I mean, Shepherd's pretty good, but I don't feel like that's the issue that like Elves has in Modern. Like Modern, it's like not so much about beating the counter spells and the chalices as it is about beating the Furies and the Wrenn and Sixes. I'll just take this hit. Okay, Munitions Expert should be able to blow this out a little bit. So they're targeting the Goyf with 4 goblins, and I can just get a tap land, push the Ringleader, then the Goyf doesn't die. Or I could actually push this goblin token so that my Wrenn doesn't die, then I get to ping the Expert, which is maybe better. Uh-oh, this isn't showing me where they're attacking anymore. But I guess I just obviously still know. I wanted to double check. Just print Gaia's. Or, Gaia's Cradle would do it. I agree. Would get the job done. Would you and Caleb consider doing another banlist test card? Glimpse would be fun to see in an Elves list. I don't know. In a non-Elves list? I mean, I don't think that it's something I'm that interested in doing right now. Maybe if like there's like less... maybe if we're in a less dynamic Modern format, but right now we are in a very dynamic Modern format. There's a lot of ins and outs and what have yous. So I can maybe just Needle Conspicuous Snoop, because I'm not 100% sure how I lose otherwise. Obviously the Shadowspear is good, but I have a lot of big creatures. Let's grab the Goyf here. I did register for SCGCon. Thank you for reminding me. I can't. Oh, someone this morning also reminded me and is like why I'm registered now. So thank you for. I can't remember who it was, but thank you to the unnamed hero. Do I think Gitaxian Probe could be unbanned? Oh, maybe if I got Pyrite Spellbomb, I would just win. But they also could have chump blocked this turn. They should have chump blocked this turn. Yeah, Probe can never be unbanned. It's like... I don't know. Yeah, Probe cannot be unbanned. Like, the Demilich is also like... the Demilich, Murktide, Dragon Rage's Channeler, it's just all too much. But boy, does it sound fun, huh? Probe and Shadow are too good. You know what's funny is that Probe and Shadow saw almost no play alongside each other when Probe was legal. Like a little bit in like the Suicide Zoo deck, but it's like they saw like very little play next by each other. Probably should have been a 4 of in every deck. Literally, that's not actually true because like with no synergy with Probe, like I think one thing a lot of people forget about Modern is that Burn winning Ataxian Probe and Twin and Pod were legal was a tier 1 deck. Burn has been a tier 1 in deck for a long time, and like playing for Ataxian Probe made your Burn matchup a lot worse. And like if you weren't playing, like just playing it to thin your deck and get info was not worth it. You had to have synergies with it, like Young Pyromancer, playing a Storm deck, playing Infect. And yeah, people like are pretty easily forget that Burn has for the early part of Modern's history was like one of the most popular and absolutely a tier 1 deck. I feel pretty confident saying if Looting is unbanned, it is immediately the #1 card in the format. Better than Ragavan, better than Urza Saga. And I'm not that interested in that happening. I think I'm leading on Ragavan here. It's kind of close. Yeah, like, you know, this is also now a format with Unmarked Grave Persist, which is, you know, yet another reason to not be that interested in unbanning it. Okay, so we're playing against Living End. I do have a Nihil Spellbomb on my deck to get. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go Liliana. Discard either Seasoned Pyromancer or second Liliana. I think this turn will just be second Liliana. Yeah. I also think that if it doesn't make the format better, I agree with that idea. If a card is not actively improving the format, you shouldn't unban it. But it's also like really funny to like want to unban a card that would immediately be the best card in the format. Which again is what I think would happen if you unban Looting. I don't get how Monkey is legal and Deathrite Shaman isn't. Well, the thing about like Monkey is it has a higher ceiling than Deathrite Shaman, but it also has a much lower floor too, which is something like not that many people talk about, I feel. Where like Ragavan like does just get blocked against my Young Wolf and Mid-Might, and that's the floor of Ragavan. But like Deathrite Shaman is only like terrible if your opponent has a Rest in Peace in play, you know? Like the floor on Deathrite Shaman is a lot higher than the floor on Ragavan. But at the very least, like both existing at the same time would not be okay either. I feel like DRC Deathrite Shaman has the largest ceiling. I would say Ragavan has the higher ceiling, but it's, you know, probably a bit semantic-y to say that. Wait, why are they Wakering in response? I guess they're looking for Force of Negation. They did find Force of Negation. I could Grief here to keep my treasure token alive and not lose 2 life. But then they get a Grief if they do find a Living End. Are we ever beating Living End here? I don't think so. So I'll just Grief. This also, I guess, doesn't get got by second Force of Negation. Oh, man. Okay, wait, they don't have green mana. They do not have green mana. Might as well take the Violent Outburst, because that's 1 less creature. I guess if they get the Shardless Agent in play either way. Okay, but obviously, like, I'm going to get a Nihil Spellbomb if they don't top deck a green source. Awesome. They don't have it. Before Deathrite Shaman got banned, wasn't Jund tier 1? Yeah. Yep. I'm not sure what the question is there, to be honest. Should I make a token? I guess I'll make a token and then pay for the Spellbomb. No, I lose so much mana if I make a token. Yeah, never mind. Back it in. But also, like, usually comments like unban Deathrite Shaman, unban Faithless Looting, these are comments made by bored Magic players. And, you know, it's not a sin to be a bored Magic player, but it's also, like, usually not that easy to have like a super productive conversation. Because like the main reason to unban one of those cards is because you're bored, not because like you think it would be a net positive impact on the format. I think I'm gonna submit this. I go Wrenn and Six is another green card. Maybe I should get a Liliana. Yeah. Use the rest of the room, be right back. It's maybe people who miss playing broken decks. I mean, that's the same thing as bored, I think. What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike. Okay, so we're on the draw for game 3. It says they fetch strong, because that's true. Gonna mulligan this against Living End. I'm gonna keep this one, I guess. Putting back Mire. Maybe Crypt. What about Crypt? Is Crime worse than Ritual? Are we asking about magic cards or just like life in general, huh? How unplayable is Path? I don't know why you'd ever put Path Exile in your deck when you have access to Solitude, March of Otherworldly Light, and so that's not true. You can play Path in your sideboard if you're a deck that doesn't want to play Solitude and needs to answer Murktide Regent and or Sanctifier and Vec. Sorry, that is a situation where you would actually want to play Path, but it's you see that in like Hammer Time and like weird decks like Jeskai Phoenix. But yeah, it's just not a main deckable card, and it's like a fringe playable sideboard card. Prefer Living Into Rhinos? I prefer to play Rhinos usually, especially because I do feel like there's a decent amount of graveyard hate at the moment. I think I need to Seasoned Pyromancer this turn. I'll discard a Bolt in a land, I think. How do you feel about your Gruul Reclaimer Titania list? I mean, I don't know. That deck's just like only good in the grindy matchups, I think. It's probably okay. It's probably fine, but you just have to like really have a good read of the metagame before you chose to play a deck like that. Have we played any Sunforge decks with the new Kamigawa equipment? Yeah. Oh boy. Think it's ever worth playing Charlotte's Agent for value? I've never seen a list where I thought that Charlotte's Agent for value was great. It was like okay and like specifically Domain Zoo, but even there I didn't think it was great. Is Temur Rec better? Temur Reclamation is just better. It's the best version of Reclamation, and I can't keep doing this. I've fallen into this trap a million times where like there's a new cool card in like Sultai, or there's a new cool card in Bant to try out, and I mean, I guess I just attack first. Like there's a new cool card in a different color combination to try out in Reclamation, right? And I end up tricking myself into thinking that maybe this version is better, and it just never is. It just is so always the case. That Temur is the best because of Wrenn and Six. Wrenn and Six is just that important to the archetype. It's just really, really non-negotiable. Okay, so I can Edict the Curator and then take Lethal, so we'll go to game 3. Wrenn is just so good in the deck. It's crazy. Okay, we're going to go to game 3. Be on the play. Gonna click Submit. Is there a playable Greasewing deck in Modern? I've had like winning records with the Greasewing decks in Modern. Obviously keeping this hand. And I think I wait on the Chalice because like my hand is like so grief proof. My hand is just like mono mono sideboard cards. Wrenn and Six could be easily banned in Modern. Easily is like a fever dream, but it could be banned, yeah, I guess. Do you think Jund is the way to go instead of Gruul? I mean, Gruul is like a totally different archetype than like the Jund deck, I think. Sure this hand is good? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure, like, the Ragavan's really likely to connect, which means that we're probably going to be able to hit all the land jobs because they're Wrenn and Six, so we have 4 sideboard cards. I'm not, I think you're joking, but just in case you aren't, yes, I do think the stand's good. What do you think of Mill in a post-Lyris meta? It's still fine, relatively underplayed deck. Okay, I'm just gonna cast the Wrenn here. I could maybe bait a Force of Negation with Chalice. That could actually be... Actually, I'd rather than force the Chalice than the Wrenn. Yeah, this hand is so bad against Leyline. I mean, we still have the Chalice at least, but... Yeah. If they do have Foundation Breaker, it's okay. I got millions of Graveyard Hate spells. Yeah, not quite into hard cast Waker of Waves territory. Well, easy. Take the Foundation Breaker. They grief my endurance away. We will live. I'll just play my second Spellbomb now. Yeah, Dak Faden was Boromir all along, as we find out in the Lord of the Rings set. Yeah, our hand is just like literally mono sideboard cards. Okay, so we know our opponent's hand is Grief, Street Wraith, mystery cards. Yeah, I think that where I'm at with the list is like I think if you play Traverse, it's like pretty hard to also play Saga and like still play like a density of interactive spells. It's possible, but I also didn't find Traverse to be great. I found it to be fine, like a totally like a reasonable card to include, but not a card that I ever felt like was super mandatory for the archetype, and not a card that I really miss either. I see the new standard says complete the tricolor ascendancy. What do you think would be a playable ascendancy? A playable Jund ascendancy. I mean, I don't know. I mean, none of the ascendancies have ever been like remotely constructed playable besides Jeskai ascendancy, right? Like, I think maybe I saw like an Abzan ascendancy occasionally or something, but I don't know. Like, I could design a broken 3-color enchantment in Jund, I guess, but I will just see what happens. I really doubt it's going to be a constructed playable card. The Temur Ascendancy you play in Standard? Temur Ascendancy has seen some play in Rhinos. It's kind of funny in Rhinos. Probably going to cast Sky Turtle. Let's cast the Inquisition first, because if they're like holding onto a Cascade spell, trying to draw an answer to the Chalice, I'll just want to get that out of the hand now. They still have the Grief and the Street Wraith. The Grief Wraith. Okay. 3 River Winders, all in the yard. I mean, I'm gonna cast the Sky Turtle. You can't tell me that I shouldn't. I mean, I know it's like not the correct line, and they could bounce it back to their hand and get out of this, but I'm just going to. I'm just casting it. I know it's not like the correct play. It says ward. Yeah, they can pay for the ward. I mean, it doesn't matter. We have got lethal in play. I don't think they have any outs. Is Saga something you need to lean into more to justify playing Reclaimer in this shell? Well, I don't really know what leaning into Saga more would look like. You know what I mean? It's like we play 4 Sagas, we play 4 Wrenn and Six, we have 4 Urza Saga targets. It would look like. We can keep this. What Jim's playing? It's not Mog Monday. GG Dom. I want a Thoughtseize on turn 1 here. Like if this is taxes and there's a lien in Arbiter, I'm pretty scared. I'm not really taking Blade Splicer, am I? Problem is Jim's, the rest of Jim's hand is just so bad. Can I cast the Ragavan now? Do you always Thoughtseize over Monkey? No, I just thought that in this spot, Thoughtseize over Monkey made a little more sense. I wasn't sure what I was running into when I was scared of like maybe taxes, cards, Dahlia, those kind of effects. I actually wrote an entire like 3,000 word article on sequencing in the early turns with DRC Ragavan decks. If you're, if that sounds like something you'd want to read, that's a good top deck. Opponent grabs a Lion Sash, which I am pretty okay with here, I feel. Pretty sure I just want to play Tarmogoyf here. It's like maybe a little awkward against the Sash, but I don't think I'm that worried about it. Why isn't Thalia more impactful right now? Thalia's fine. Like, Thalia's never been, like, you know... I almost thought my headphones were on. Thalia's never been, like, a huge force in Modern outside of humans, I guess. Like, you know, it's always been, like, somewhat fringe. Even when humans has been, like, around, it's always been... Or it's never been, like, one of the most popular cards in the format, so... I wouldn't say that Thalia is not impactful now, so much as Thalia is just kind of like generally not that impactful in Modern. Get our Jump Triome, and I think I like just playing 2 threats here, 2 creatures. Opponent's hand is 2 Malakir Rebirths, a Lion Sash, and 2 mystery cards now. But there are plenty of cards that are good in Modern that don't see much play also. I think that's something that maybe people don't realize, that there are plenty of good cards that just don't see that much play. It's a bit risky to attack into Jim when he's got Malakir Rebirth available to rebuy the Stoneforge Mystic. So what we can do is maybe go Wrenn and Six, ping the Lion Sash. Jim has to activate, and then I actually get an attack. Don't like love this line, but I do have 2 Wrenn and Sixes. Wrenn and Six dying would grow the Tarmogoyf, and I think I really want to be able to attack here. Have I tried Fallen Shinobi? I mean, that card's really fun, and it's just not that good at Modern. I'd be pretty happy to just trade Ragavan for Stoneforge Mystic or Lion Sash here, since I just really don't want Jim to block and then Malak Rebirth Stoneforge Mystic back. So happy with this trade. Playing my Urza Saga here, passing back. See if the Sash takes over the game. Kind of don't think it's going to. Yeah, just like Karen 07. I think a great example of a great Modern card. Blade of the Oni. I guess that's getting pinged probably by my second Wrenn. We'll see what happens. I guess they can Malakir Rebirth it, so maybe I'm just making a token instead. Any consideration for double Wrenn to actually kill the Sash? We could maybe have taken that line instead. I'm also gonna like needle the Sash next turn. Yeah, let me attack with the Goyf. If they block and then Malakir Rebirth, then I'll Wrenn and Six ping. Which cards do I think should see more play in Modern? Literally all I do all day, every day is stream with cards I think should see more play in Modern. So you can look at my deck history. But that's literally all I do is play with cards like that I think should see more play. Like I think this Jund Saga deck should see more play. That's what we're doing today. You can watch any number of streams and see see those opinions. I was just gonna try to get a trade off because of the sash. I think that's fine with me. Sash is definitely getting pretty big. Wrenn and Six needs to see more play. Well, so this is another thing that people don't necessarily have this opinion, right? Like you say, you're playing cards that need to see more play. You're playing Wrenn and Six. You're playing Ragavan. But this Jund Saga deck is seeing almost no play at the moment. But it's also true. I think I might need to take this dog outside. It's also true that, like, usually when you're playing cards that are underplayed in Modern, you pair them with other good cards instead of other goofy, unplayable cards. You know what I mean? Like, people do definitely act like you need to play... If you're going to play, like, rogue cards, you need to play all bad cards. So I think I have to take the hit from the sash. Yeah, I also need to... I'll see if she might just want to go outside. She did poop this morning. She doesn't usually need to poop at this time. Sorry if that's a bit too much info. Alright, I will be back in like a couple minutes. What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike. Okay, thank you for your patience, everybody. Do another Saga for turn. Why are we in emote only mode? Things really get that bad that fast. So we're probably gonna go make a token, or should I get a draw step if I'm right, okay. Let's see, Jund Sack is on the list of decks, doesn't he play with his playable? Yeah, I think Jund Sack's great. I really like that deck. So we're going to get the Shadowspear, equip, token, and then I think we're on Shump Block duty with the other token. Yeah. Kind of wish we had a better line. I don't think we really do. Did 2 removal spell. I think Meat Hook Massacre would be a good redundancy. I don't like the Meat Hook Massacre. I've also like never really played with the card, but I don't expect it to be that good. Wait, only attacking with the Grief? Don't understand that. Morality, I think with the 4 months. Appreciate you. Yeah, Jim's playing a sewer deck. I would probably recommend not overthinking it too much. Another draw step ephemerate, maybe. Gab was playing Meat Hook Massacre in Coffers earlier. Yeah, maybe it's fine in Coffers. I'm actually kind of interested to see how he changed the list, because I do think there's a lot of room for innovation there. Just gonna cast the monkey and pass. Could they not reconfigure Lion Sash to Grief? They could do that, yeah. Was that lethal? Yeah, that was lethal, wasn't it? Cool. We both missed it. Yeah, I tend to evaluate Meat Hook Massacre as being just not that good, but I do know that a lot of people like the card. I do know that general fondness from the card comes from, like, you know, other formats, Standard, Pioneer. And I think it's probably just a little mana intensive, doesn't kill enough, but I could be wrong about it. He sold line after he missed it, got it. No, it keeps the counters. Or the counters stay on it, and then the equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on the sash. Yeah, card seems very good in EDH too. That's another place where Really like the Meat Hook Massacre. As a 2-drop, I think it might be good, just as like a Blood Artist enchantment, maybe. It is a very expensive card too, so must be good, right? If it's expensive. Jim might be dead to an Alpha Strike here. Yeah, I still have a... Let's see if I still have Esther's PowerPoint readily available. It was a good day. I don't see it. But yeah, this was a first preview card ever. Esther made like a really goofy PowerPoint showing it off. I maybe just opened it like in the browser or something. Right, leaving 2 mana up. Our construct's going to be really big, 6/6s. I don't think there's really much point to needling Lion Sash. I think I'm going to needle Touch of the Spirit Realm. Oh, Touch the Spirit Realm. I think that might be what Jim is on here. See, dash Ragavan, blocks here, takes 12. Probably better to just leave the Ragavan back to block. Opponent's at 11. I've got. I obviously, like, I win if my opponent has nothing. I'm gonna make the attack, but I kind of assumed that Jim maybe had something there. Wait, did he actually have it? Did he actually have it? No way. It's so funny. I mean, no other card really made any sense to name, I think. Tourach's probably pretty good in this matchup. No, Lion Slash doesn't gain life. It's not exactly like Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, I got a little lucky to win that game, huh? Let's also trim, I think, 1 Inquisition, 1 Thoughtseize. Think about the Spellbomb as an Alta Sanctifier. 1 Nihil Spellbomb is fine. Needle's fine. I think 1 Terminate's a good number. I think it's a pretty good play to name Touch the Spirit Realm there. It's like... I may be the first person ever in Modern to needle Touch the Spirit Realm. I feel like that's not too crazy of a claim. Why no Grist if you already play 4 Seasoned Pyromancers? I feel like Liliana is just really important to interact with your opponent. The list has been performing pretty well. I have played a lot of Grist in Modern in the past. The card is fine. You could play a 3-1 Liliana Grist to split also if you wanted to, but it's also true like one of the main reasons to play Grist is because it answers Murktide, but Liliana also answers Murktide really well. I will also say, you know, we're doing pretty well today. We're currently 10-2. Yeah, so many people are asking about Grist over Liliana, but it's also just because, like, this is just, like, the super common, you know, Reddit take. Ah, haha, Liliana's bad, Grist is better, and, like, Grist is better than Liliana, but, like, Liliana is, like, a more important role player in this shell. Trellon, thank you for the raid. Hope you're having a good day. Is Hammer still good? Yeah, Hammer's still a good deck, but it is absolutely the case, though, that if you play Hammer in Modern, every single opponent has, like, at least 3 sideboard cards for you. There's not a single person who's like, I'm just going to be unprepared for Hammer today, which is a big problem for playing the archetype. Think Spyro's underplay? Yeah, I think Spyro's really good. I like the card a lot. Is it a good play DRC Bobble over Liliana the Veil Spyro? You could, yeah. Like, I don't think it would be that crazy. You might get Gigantha as a companion too. But I think that this is better. But I do not think it would be wildly bad to build the deck that way. No. Oh wait, what? The deck's playing Persist? Why play Spyro? You can play Fable the Mirror Breaker. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I haven't been testing Fable very much. I've played it a couple times. It's okay. I really just like that it has 4 chapters and not 3. You know what I mean? Where it's a powerful card. It does a lot. But it quietly has 4 chapters. Where chapter 1 is make the 2/2 that makes a treasure, which is good. Then it has Rummage 2, which is okay. Then it transforms, but it has Summoning Sickness. So, like, the secret 4th chapter is you get to untap with your Fable. So it's like... It takes 4 turns to fully realize the value of the card, and so like that's okay I think when you play it on exactly turn 3, but like every turn after turn 3 it just takes so long for you to realize the value of the card. But it is fine, like it is fine card. If your AC stops working, do I come Perspiring Spike? Yes, and I usually do. What are my tips for dealing with Shadowspear constructs when playing the Anvil deck? I found the Trample Lifelink to be unbeatable. Usually I try to Needle Shadowspear, like post-board. Although I guess I'm not playing my own Sagas anymore, so maybe it's just tough. But you can also kill them before they get it down. Alright, we're going to attack here. You got some game. I like the no block by Gem. I think I'm just going to play Seasoned Pyromancer and discard both Wrenn and Sixes. It's kind of a bold play, I suppose. I don't really feel like the Wrens are doing much here, and I get the tokens, and if I don't play the Seasoned Pyromancer, it just gets discarded to the Ephemerate anyways. Yeah, Fable could be I think it would be a great budget replacement for Seasoned Pyromancer, yeah. It also lets you keep Gigantha as a companion if that is relevant for whatever deck you're playing. I've been practicing the Peacekeeper intro dance. Yeah, I still haven't got it down yet. Why no 3 Pyro, 1 Kroxa? I mean, I think I would play the 4th Seasoned Pyromancer over the first Kroxa every time, but you could cut a different card for a Kroxa theoretically. But I'm also of the opinion that, especially now that Boseiju is in the deck, you really just don't want to play Kroxa at all. Because like you're a 23 land deck with 6 lands that don't escape Kroxa. That's a lot. I'm not saying that Kroxa is completely unplayable, but with six lands that just don't escape it, I think it's just too many for such a restrictive casting cost. Okay, so Jim finds a Cauldra. We may get to blow them out with the Wrenn and Six ping. Wrenn and Six is so hard to read here because it just discarded 2. Yeah. I take a look at deck lists for 2 gifted subs or $10, or also 50,000 channel points. There's a... Oh, sorry, it's deck tech. You'd have to cut Liliana for Gigantha. Yeah, well, someone asked about not playing either card, right? This card's so weird. It is cool that it flickers your Grief and Solitudes. Not sure how I feel about it. So my opponent's hand is Cauldra, mystery card. We're, getting a little flooded here. But we get to put Luris in our hand. Second, Stoneforge Mystic, grabbing Lion Sash, casting the Sash. Casting Sash is probably not great into the Wrenn and Six ping. Need to draw a spell. Okay, that's a spell. I guess I could have attacked with the Elemental token first. That was a mistake. Two Boseiju inside. Are that good? Or maybe something also better like EE? Well, that's... Well, the Boseijus kind of play like triple duty, where they're good against Tron and Titan and Hammer Time and the Affinity decks and Oops All Spells and Belchier. So like you have like the Boseijus are really versatile cards, and like that, like the Wrenn and Six Boseiju game plan is really good in those matchups. While EE is only good against specifically Hammer, and we're playing kind of Culling Ritual over Explosives because it just gets everything it wants, including Sanctifier, which is really important to get. I think Culling Ritual is way better than EE. I don't know, like You'd have to, I guess, I guess EU is better against like specifically rhinos, but Culling Ritual is just like maybe the best card in Modern against Hammer. You know what I mean? Okay, big draw step. Big draw. Yeah. It's just like HEA is good too. Crime Punishment's good too, but it's... Okay, we're not dead to this. We just get to block. Take no damage. And they chump block the Goyf, so they're dead to removal spell. Saga is not a removal spell. So I need to leave back Tarmogoyf to chump block. Unfortunately. Is this the best deck I've played this season in terms of results? I feel like I've had a few decks that have been this good in like this small of a sample size. Like the Anvil deck was like performing about this well at the beginning. But like right, yes, because like the Anvil deck like evened out a little bit. A few other decks evened out. So Liliana, best draw, I assume. Okay. Still an okay draw. Okay, we'll play this Seasoned Pyromancer. Oh, whoops. Trying to stay alive. Mad Musa, thank you for the 6 months. Appreciate you. Does that do anything? I don't think this does anything. I can go Pyrite Spellbomb. No, I can go fetch Fatal Push Grief, put 3 points of power in front of this because I fetch, I go down to 6. Get trampled over for 4. Good shot for 2. I die. What could be a good replacement for 2 Boseiju? That's kind of the tough part about, because what I like about Boseiju is that it's such a, I guess I can draw another Goyf. What I like about Boseiju is like it's such a versatile card. And it does a lot in the deck without oh, I can't even block this because I pro red, sorry. It does a lot in the deck without and it covers a lot of bases in the sideboard. So it's like this is good against Affinity, Hammer Time, Tron, Titan, Oops All Spells, Belcher. And is also like a somewhat versatile card in general that you can bring in. So it's like if you were to place this with Obsidian Charmaul or Ashiok or Magus of the Moon or Engineered Explosives or Crime Punishment, you're just not getting the same coverage that you get with the sideboard Boseijus. So you really just kind of have to rework the rest of the sideboard if you're going to cut the Boseijus. Playing like some mix of these cards and like less of other cards in your sideboard, I guess. But the Boseijus are really good. Couldn't you push the token? I could push it, but it has Indestructible, so would not accomplish anything. Thanks again for the resub, Bad Muso. Okay, gonna keep this hand. When do we play Lutrian Modern again? I guess when we get bored. Okay, Jim Moles to 6. Guess I'm getting Overgrown Tomb because I've got the basic mountain. Just taking the land, I think. We'll see if Jim is able to top deck another land. Nope. I could draw a card here. I don't think that's correct with the Seasoned Pyromancers though in hand. Oh, sorry, I should have got Blood Crypt because now I can't Liliana. I was thinking that they've got Urborg in their deck, so I just want to get Stomping Ground, but I think that was not correct. That being said, I'm totally fine dashing the Ragavan here as like maybe Jim's one draw step was Ephemerate, but if Jim ends up solituding the Ragavan, I'm really happy with that, I think. Could you chump block with a Saga token and then Shadowspear push the Germ? If chump blocking with the because I take 2 damage from the Sword of Fire Ice, I don't think that was a line. I did consider it, and I don't think I was doing my math wrong. If I had a major tourney tomorrow, which deck would I play? I might play this deck. This deck's, we're currently 10-2 with it. I think I'd probably say this deck. Yeah, the last card was not Ephemerate. Just get to pass. So no second land for Jim. I'm just going to go ahead and draw a card. Let's discard Verdant Catacombs, Thoughtseize, I think. Maybe Lightning Bolt, Thoughtseize. Like that. Just get an extra token, just more power in play. I think I really need the Bolt. Maybe Famous Last Words. If Jim goes land Stoneforge Mystic here. You had Spellbomb, so they couldn't Ephemerate. I mean, we just didn't know if they had Ephemerate in their hands. If Jim did have Ephemerate up, I guess Jim wouldn't if he did have it. Looks like he did have it. Fair enough. Okay. Pretty easy. Attack all. Falls into our trap again. Not that he can really afford to play around much at this point in the game. And I will go ahead and fetch now. So if Jim draws like March of Otherworldly Light, I get to make a token. Jim's hand is Blade Splicer, 3 mystery cards. The Undying Evil got pitched to the Grief. Has anyone asked about Raven's Crime? I think you're the first. I mean, there's no shortage of like good, reasonable cards that you could play. I think Raven's Crime would be fine. You can maybe play one over a Tourach, but it's also true like if you're gonna, I don't think you should main deck it. And like I don't love bringing in cards like for the blue-white control matchups like Raven's Crime that are bad against Rest in Peace. So, like I kind of think Tourach is still better in that spot. But you could play one. Did I know I had 2,000 month subscriber badges? Do I? I maybe put them there on accident. Okay, but yeah, what about Worm Harvest? EE on 0. So we get to play the Urza Saga Engineered Explosives dance, where I've got a needle to name the EE, and so but Jim wants to get max value, so I pass priority back. Now Jim has to pop the EE now, and then I get to make a Saga token. I won the dance. Okay, 3-0 this league. Now we're 11-1 on the day, or 11-2. Okay, gonna keep this hand. Just gonna put back Pithing Needle since this is game 1, and I'm just gonna go turn 1 Thoughtseize. This is why is everybody registering Touch the Spirit Realm? I don't understand. This card is really not that good. I feel it's not terrible. I guess I'm gonna take the Priest of Fell Rites. But like this is the third time we've played. This is the third Touch the Spirit Realm opponent we've had today. Second in a row even. Yeah, it might be better than it looks. It's like maybe not great against our archetype. It is cool because it's versatile. I agree. But I don't know. It's like a bad O-Ring for 3 mana. O-Ring's already like not playable. It doesn't hit everything, and it's like not a very good flicker effect either. So I don't know. It's probably okay. So I milled over an Archon successfully. I could Thoughtseize. I know my opponent's hand is Grief, Archon, Seasoned Pyromancer, Touch. If my opponent has a Persist, like I think I really need to Thoughtseize, so feels like that's like a way we lose is like one of my opponent's 2 mystery cards is Persist here. Okay. I have to take the Seasoned Pyromancer. Hope that they don't Grieve. If they do, but like the Seasoned Pyromancer is just so good with 2 Archons in hand. I can try to out top deck them. Oh, sorry. I shouldn't have clicked off the grief. Touch is good because you can blink your own creature as well. Well, that's the thing, though. It's like, it's not as good as flickering as Ephemerate is. Obviously, they're playing Ephemerate, but it's like so much worse at blinking your own creature. This is like a prime example of a versatile card and not a powerful card. No single mode of this card is more efficient than anything else like it. It's worse than Oblivion Ring, which is already not playable in Modern. It's like the worst like a flicker effect you could possibly play, and it's also like the worst removal spell you could possibly play. But it's like it does all of the the 2 mana instant speed flicker your opponent's creature, but like it does do all of those things. So like I do think that the combination of all those things does make it like somewhat playable. Okay, their last card is just an Archon, so I'm not gonna Thoughtseize. And it's okay, like you can sacrifice power level for versatility sometimes, but I also think in a deck like this, in a deck like Reanimator, I feel like you actually do want to you more so are interested in powerful effects rather than versatile effects. I also really dislike that this card doesn't get enchantments, and like you can't get I guess I Thoughtseize first. You can't get specifically Rest in Peace with it. Feels like a really big hit to take. Okay, so we get our Seasoned Pyromancer tokens, which are great because now we can just Edict an Archon if they do draw Persist. There are also one land away now from Priest of Fell Rites. But if they miss, we get to ultimate the Liliana if we want to. We may not want to, since like we can just Edict Archons. Is Priest of Fell Rites playable? It is playable. Like it's definitely a fine option for these Reanimator decks. I don't think it's mandatory. Okay, concedes to the Liliana Ultimate. We're gonna bring in 2 Endurance, 1 Soul Guide Lantern. We actually played this matchup earlier. I think I ended up cutting all the Fatal Pushes and then like one of the Lilies. Maybe I left it 1 push. Maybe I should leave in 1 push. I think that the Tourachs are also... I want the second Terminate. The Tourachs are also like okay if they're playing like a lot of discard effects. They're playing Seasoned Pyromancer, but that might be the only way to like trigger Tourach. Tourach's okay also to just kick for 4 mana sometimes, but for the most part, like against Esper Ephemerate Reanimator, like you can just bring it in and like their Faithful Mendings are gonna make this really big. Yeah, I feel like that was a very early concession in a deck with Persist. Assuming they play Persist. Oh wait, no, this list plays only 3 Persist, right? It's the list that got like 9th in the challenge and it's only playing 3 Persist for like just no discernible reason. I guess I should cut the Needle though. No, I can Needle Priest. Needling Priest is probably pretty good. Maybe just submit this. Seems fine. Do you prefer the Mardu or Esper version? I think Esper. I mean, I don't really like this version of the Reanimator deck. I to be honest with you, I don't think it's very good. But I do like the Esper Ephemerate one. At the very least, like this version seems like really misbuilt, where you're playing like a lot of goofy cards like Blood Tithe Harvester, which I think is better as Voldaran Epicure, and you're playing just a lot of goofy cards, to be honest. I take the Fable here. Have I tested any changes on this deck this afternoon? I haven't changed anything, but I am also currently 11-2 with this list, so I don't feel like too many changes have felt like they're in order. The list has felt great. I even haven't like played very well today. And we're still doing pretty well. Rough. Good top deck for them. Multicolor card for pitch elementals. I don't think they play Fury, do they? Maybe they play Fury. I can also be wrong about these cards too. Like I can be wrong about the deck, but this is just my opinion. Yeah, at the very least, not having 4 copy of Persists in your Reanimator deck, it's just incorrect. I don't know what to tell you. It's the best. It's better than Priest as your reanimation spell. I don't care about the fact that you... Wait, they left me with Lightning Bolts? And I know the last card is Solitude. Why did they leave me with Lightning Bolt? I'm just going to main phase the Bolt, then I'll top deck another Flicker effect. Yeah, it still looks like I got 11th in the challenge. That was only playing 3 Persist. And like there's like a lot of cool stuff going on here, but you have to play 4 like I also think Citrus of Player is like not very good in the list, and there's a lot I dislike. Like Epicure would be a lot better than Supplier. But like, you know, you like Epicure also like I think is better with the Flicker effects too. We don't have to, you know, just rag him all day. Okay, they did mill over a Priest. Yeah, Reanimator's like definitely the kind of deck that you, yeah, I like maybe like the best deck in Modern to just run well with for a tournament. Absolutely agree with that. Alright, I hit my opponent for 6, and then we're gonna Endurance them end of turn, I think. Does shrink the Goyf by a lot, but getting the Priest out of the graveyard feels relevant. I was kind of worried about this Solitude plus Flicker effect. We do have Liliana to Edict it, but we are kind of like starting from the beginning again. I think I'm just gonna play this as a land. If I draw another land, especially Urza Saga, I'm just gonna wish I played this. I think that me just having an extra land in play is more relevant than like turning my opponent's Triome into a Goblet Shrine or whatever. Okay, if I plus this Liliana and my opponent's last card is Archon of Cruelty, I guess it's not that bad if I Terminate, so I'll Terminate. It's not that good either, but the last card has to be Cruelty, it's not its Fury. Discard Grief. Lily Brand and Grist Counter 1. It's a lot higher than 1 at this point. Yeah, Liliana has been great all day, and I don't think that I think Grist is a better overall card than Liliana, but I do think Liliana is a more important role player in this archetype. And I feel like today's done a great job of showing off at least like why I feel this way about Liliana. I'm not saying I'm 100% correct, and maybe it's better to play 3 Lilianas, 1 Grist. I could kind of be persuaded that that's the case. 2/2 Furies, or seeing a 2/2 Fury is kind of funny. I think I'm gonna fetch to Thin. We need a creature land. We have 4 Urza Saga in the deck, and we've got a Boseiju. I think we are kind of maxed out on utility lands in this deck, to be honest. Attacking Wrenn and Six, pretty happy with that actually. Draws a land for turn, gonna continue to fetch to Thin. We are only a 23 land deck, so theoretically we'll draw a spell at some point, huh? Almost a spell. Do I ping them? I think I'll just get a Catacombs back. So they can Priest of Fell Rites, a Solitude, or a Grief if they want to. Obviously, like, we're not too scared if that happens. So you say you're pretty set on Lily not being a do-nothing like some people anticipated? Yeah, I mean, I've been playing... this is not the first time I've played Liliana either. I've been playing tons of Liliana decks since Allura Spanning, and I feel like she's a really important role player in the red-black deck, in this deck, in mono-black Cabal Coffers. She's really important, but, like people think that Liliana is supposed to be like this value 3-drop, but she's an interactive 3-drop, and she does a really unique thing. And it's like, if you just want to play the grindiest deck in the format, you need to be playing Omnath. You know what I mean? But if you want to be playing a really interactive deck, like, that's the reason to play these Jund decks. And, like, I don't know, like, the people who are also saying that Liliana is just a do-nothing in Modern are just people who are, like, just trying to post a hot take to Twitter, to be honest, I feel. They're just trying to say something. I just the card has been like I feel like very important, and at the very least to say that it's just dumb to play Liliana or Liliana's unplayable, I think is wild. And as someone who keeps casting the card and keeps liking it. But we can go ahead and get a prediction going. Like, Liliana just does a really different thing than Grist does. Like obviously, like, you do need a creature to sacrifice to Grist, which against, like, specifically Murktide Regent, like, Liliana is way better at killing Murktide than Grist is, because it's pretty often you just don't have a creature. But it's like, what Liliana pressuring your opponent's hand is super important for this deck, to slow the game down, to pressure the big man and the combo decks. Like, there are so many games where, like, Liliana, like, rips apart your big man and combo opponent's hand, and that you just straight up lose those games if you're playing Grist instead. That's actually happened plenty of times today. My opponent's got a triple crab, double visions of Beyond hand. I guess I'm gonna take the Ruin Crab and not feel too good about it. Yeah, we played against Mill earlier, and they surgicaled 3 of my Goyfs. We did win the Mill matchup earlier. So this is another matchup where Liliana's way better than Grist, too. It's like pressuring my opponent's hand, killing a creature immediately, just so important. Obviously, like, Mill is a weird matchup, so I'm not just saying, like, ha, or anything, but it's like another example, I feel. Yeah, no Emrakul. We do have a couple Endurances in the sideboard. I'm not sure how bad this matchup is either. Probably not great. So we have option of second Goyf Inquisition or Liliana Edict to Crab. I think I like second Inquisition, second Goyf here. Kind of scared of the visions, but this is so much pressure on them. To be fair, also exaggerated saying Luris was pushed through Jump Set Martin. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I like people. I mean, it's just like, it's not a big deal for people to say that, right? But like, yeah, it is just not true that Luris pushed 3-drops out of Modern. There were plenty of 3-drops that were good and viable in Modern before the Luris ban. It's like, just specifically in Red, Black, X, like, you usually wanted to play Luris over other 3-drops. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see if we can get any chump blocks here. I haven't seen Crooks around anything in a a place without Luris. Maybe. I'm not sure exactly where that place is, though. So if they have another fetch land, which they're somewhat likely to, that's 6, 12, 18 mills. If I play a second Tarmogoyf, they do have to chump block 2 of them next turn. Why haven't I been playing in challenges lately? I played in one this weekend. I just had, like, other things to do on the weekend for, like, 3 weeks or so before. But I don't know, like, the challenge, like, I stream Magic all week long. Sometimes I also just don't feel like it. Okay, the Goyfs are now 7/8s, which means they're all individually lethal. That being said, we're pretty likely to just be dead here. Yep. Bummer. Do you think your Mardu Chalice is gaming as the top decks or stick to Grisses? I like the Mardu Shadow deck a lot. I think the deck's really powerful, but the deck is also very much vulnerable to its draws. When you're not playing Iteration or Dragon Rage's Channeler, you have no card selection. And it's okay, I think, to have no card selection. Not every deck needs it. Not every deck, like most decks in Modern, don't have card selection. This deck doesn't have any card selection. But like it is an important thing, I think, to have for shadow decks, and you do feel the loss of the card selection. I think I'll be 62 cutting the Terminate. No, I mean you could play an Emrakul on the sideboard. I don't feel like we've got Endurances though, only 2 of them. I'd probably play the 3rd Endurance before the 1st Emrakul. I'm gonna mulligan this, but every time we mulligan, our deck size gets 1 bigger. Let's keep this hand. I think I put back the Fatal Push, because if they have crabs, I can maybe just Thoughtseize the crab. Or, you know, discard spell the crab. If they have multiple crabs in their hand, then obviously putting the push back probably is bad for us, but they only have one, thankfully. And they also don't have an archive trap, also thankfully, and they also have a very island heavy draw. Awesome. Basically the perfect hand to see here. Kind of like the Terminate before all Lilies. Liliana is really good in this matchup. Pressuring your opponent's hand, threatening the ultimate is better than Terminate. Terminate being a 2-mana kill a crab. Liliana also kills a crab, but then stays in play and gives value. Liliana is even like one of our best cards, I feel, in this matchup. Wandering Mind Unearthed. That's a deck we've played in the past. It's maybe going to be something I revisit. It's a deck I liked in the past too. I was thinking about playing it today or tomorrow. It was actually looking pretty good. I maybe made some changes. I maybe didn't. I can't remember. Yeah, I cut the Lurises for Seasoned Pyromancers. Yeah, it actually looks pretty good to me. So you may see me dust this off sometime this week. Okay, yeah. Hopefully my opponent just goes fetch for an island, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and walks right into the boil. Fortunately, plays the Aboro. Then Tasha's me for 18 cards. I think I just resolved the boil here. It's obviously not just one-sided Armageddon, but still fine. Wandering Mind is a horror for Thing in the Ice, but yeah, but wouldn't you want to bounce your Wandering Minds? Unfortunately, no double black. Liliana would be pretty good here, though. Gonna try to bolt the crab in response to the fetch. Although, now that they've gone to upkeep, I'll just bolt now. And then I guess they have to, like, shock their Delta in, right? Maybe they just get a tapped Watery Grave, but that's also fine. They get a basic island. I'm pretty surprised to see that. Maybe they just have more black mana in their hand. We also milled over a Seasoned Pyromancer, which is, you know, a little bit of value. Do you think they should have banned Luris's Companion, let people brew with it in the main deck? Maybe, I don't know. It's not something I feel particularly passionate about either way. I think that would have been fine. I think it's also fine for them to do it the way they did. I don't really have strong feelings about it. What a draw step. Okay, I can't respond to that. They do know I have it now. So I guess I should just Endurance myself second main phase. And if they have a counterspell, they're going to get to counterspell the Endurance no matter what. But this plays around Drown. I guess they definitely don't have Drown. There's no way that they drown, they extirpate instead of drowning my Goyf, right? But they could have another Surgical, another Extirpate, a Crypt Incursion. Oh, they would have cast Crypt Incursion here. I'm just going to cast it. If they have Counterspell, they've got Counterspell. Does shrink the Goyf by 1, which is okay, I think. Yeah. I just don't feel very passionate about like the banning it as a companion or not. I see there's a good argument for doing it either way, and I just like I did have like a few brews that had Luris in the main deck. It's a pretty rare thing. I don't think I'm gonna miss those decks too much. They probably don't have Drown, but might have Counterspell. Why not upkeep the Endurance? Because it's worse against another Extirpate, was what I said, right? Just worse against another Extirpate. But like I don't know, I think you can make a fine argument either way, and it's kind of hard to like really say like one line is super correct there. Just very small margins. I think Wizards, at some point, Wizards will one-day companion. Hey man, I know it's crazy, unheard of idea, but do you think some point Wizards will one-day companion? That is a good shitpost if that's like intentionally just like all broken up. That is a really good shitpost if you're really just trying to confuse me. Well done. And if not, yeah, sure, is my answer. Hey man, I know it's crazy, unheard of idea, but do you think that at some point Wizards will one day companion? Fulpert added a haha, that is a deep cut. Yeah, I'm sure there's just some English here, but I don't know what you're asking. Sure, it's just, you know, like a language barrier thing, but I don't know what you're asking. Companion is not a verb. Okay, I can keep this hand. Wrenn and Sixes will have things to get back as if they're milling me. Obviously not a perfect hand, but you keep Thoughtseize into Goyf for this matchup. Yeah, they probably meant either ban Companion or print more. And like I think that it is silly, and it's a silly, hateful thing to wish for Wizards to ban all the Companions when it's just like none of them besides. I'll just take the Fatal Push here. I think I can take Atasha's. None of them besides Yorion are like really like close to being banned. You know what I mean? Like, you could argue that maybe Gigantha, Kihira have too low requirements and they could be banned. I think that both those cards though are pretty inarguably low power level, and like I don't think that most people are clamoring to get those cards out of here. And like, but then you also go, this is a format that has Gyruda, and this is a format that has Zerda, and there are a lot of cards in Modern that I think I'll go ahead and walk into the Archive Trap here. If they have two, it's kind of bad. But there are a lot of cards in Modern that or a lot of companions in Modern that are just like so like far away from being playable or like in any way impactful, and banning them is pretty silly. And all you do is like hurt the people who really like their Zerda decks or their Amori decks, you know. Yeah, sorry, I kept losing my train of thought. So they're gonna Archive Trap me, and then I wanted to see if I milled my second copy of Endurance, I was gonna just evoke the Endurance immediately because I know they have Extirpate. Okay, so now I know my opponent's hand is Tasha's Extirpate mystery card. I'm just going to go ahead and invoke the Endurance now, though, since... Oh, I stacked my triggers wrong. Or no, I think I actually stacked this correct. I think I actually... No, I wanted the Endurance in the yard to go to the Goyfs. Sorry. This could be okay. But yeah, I think just like resolving this Endurance is probably makes or breaks this game, and just go ahead and resolve it, huh? I think I could dash a Ragavan. Maybe better to just cast one. Don't you think Gigantha is too free, kind of like Luris? Well, that's the thing about Gigantha. Like, it is kind of too free, yeah. Like, its deck building restriction is a little too low. I do agree with that. That being said, it's also, like, really low impact, unlike Luris. Like, the thing about Luris is it was a super high impact card. Gigantha is, like, kind of goofy, kind of bad. Yeah, I think I'll just play Goyf instead of Extirpate. I don't care if they draw any of these cards. You know what I mean? So like I think you can make a fine argument for banning Yorion, a fine argument for banning Kihira Gigantha, but I don't think you can make any kind of reasonable argument for banning any other companion. Oh, Legend Rule the Ragavans for an extra power Goyf. I kind of like that, but then you don't get to play the second Goyf. It's also true, like, the crab is pretty likely to make your Goyf pretty large and pretty in charge. I think we're 5-0ing here. Okay, 13-2 on the day with Jund Saga. It's very exciting. I guess we're gonna... I was thinking we would play the mono red deck in the challenge this weekend, but this has emerged to be the new contender. List feels great too. I spent a lot of time on this list. I'm pretty proud of it. Feel really good about it. I also didn't play very well today. I feel like I feel like I've been having a lot of off days lately. But oh, the Wanderer. This card's really expensive, right? Today in particular felt quite bad. Destructotron, thank you for the 5-pack. Appreciate you. Any changes to the deck? I mean, I don't have any initial changes I recommend. I think that you could play like a sideboard card for Mill if you wanted to, but we were also 2-0 against Mill today, so I don't think it's that necessary. Mana seems good. I like my spells that I've selected a lot. Yeah, we're second trophy today. We went 5-0, 3-2, 5-0. So definitely feeling this list a lot. I'll probably be posting like a little tweet about this today, and then probably doing an updated sideboard guide for Channel Fireball, or deck guide for this, either this week or next week. Kind of depends. I've been meaning to do Mono Red Prowess for a couple days and just haven't got around to it. Well, I guess since we slayed Jim earlier.